The invitation arrived in a heavy cream envelope, the kind that turns an event into an obligation the moment your name is embossed on the flap. You are cordially invited to the grand opening of the Amanda Chin San Francisco, a luxury hotel and urban icon. Saturday, 4 p.m. downtown ribbon cutting and dedication ceremony. Daniel's text landed 30 seconds later. It would mean a lot if you could make it. Then my mother, please dress formally. This is the Chin family's moment and there will be significant press. No wandering. Stick to the family area near the step and repeat. We don't want confusion about who's hosting. I read it twice. We don't want confusion about who's hosting. That was the point, really, who stands under lights, who holds the scissors, who names the building. For a year I'd been standing somewhere else entirely. In rooms with no cameras. In meetings where consents is a plural noun and assignment is a verb with a filing fee. On calls with lenders who care more about DSCR than about which surname belongs 12 feet tall on a facade. The tower occupied a corner near market glass and steel, catching late sun and throwing it back like a mirror that had learned confidence. It hadn't started as a hotel. First a speculative office play. Then mixed use. Finally, a hospitality pivot branded for the future. Luxury as experience, not furniture. The holding company's name, Piermont Flagship Holdings, LLC, never made it into the press. Boring companies earn the right to stay boring. The duller the name, the safer the leverage. 3 months after Daniel got engaged to Amanda, my investment group acquired 100% of Piermont Flagship via a clean membership interest transfer. No ceremony. No speeches. Just escrow wires, lender notices, and signatures that look like heart monitor readings when magnified for closing binders. The press release, when there would eventually be one, wouldn't say my name first. It would say Mitchell Capital Partners, which is a polite way of saying I bought the parent so I own the child. We negotiated naming rights the same week we negotiated roof rights. The city cared about lumens and light spill. The lenders cared about senior lien primacy and whether naming had a MAC clause salted into a supplemental. The Chin family cared about cutting a ribbon. I cared about turning 10 floors, just under a third of the building, into a public-private innovation hub for hospitality and civic resilience. The term sheet called it the Mitchell Air Chin Innovation Floors, a hyphen long enough to connect 2 families still deciding if they liked each other. I didn't tell my family about the acquisition. When I speak too early, I'm a problem to manage. When I speak at the right time, I'm a fact to accept. Saturday, I wore a black suit that photographed like it belonged to someone with nothing to prove. In the car, my assistant Lex handed me a slim folder. Run of show, board seating, signage timing, she said. And a fresh lender consent. No one will ask, but confidence reads through paper. Barricades held traffic back from a curb that had learned red carpet. A stage grew out of it. Cameras clustered. A string quartet tried to make steel beams feel charming. The step and repeat repeated what people had been whispering all week, the Amanda Chin San Francisco. Daniel spotted me at the family area and exhaled like I'd completed an errand he'd been too embarrassed to assign. He hugged me like a man embracing a solution he didn't understand. You made it, he said. Of course. Try to just stay near us, he whispered. PR is keeping flow tight. Amanda's parents have a program. Chin Foundation Board, lender team, city folks. It's important no one freelances. Understood, I said, and took my place behind a velvet rope, a polite synonym for row 47, far left. Amanda moved through staging like a person accustomed to being followed by light, immaculate, camera-ready, exacting without effort. She kissed my cheek as if kissing a family joke she didn't want to tell in public. I'm glad you're here, Jordan, she said. We want today to be simple. Simple is good. Her mother checked her watch the way donors check clocks when endowments are late. We're slightly behind, she told PR. Move the pre-remarks photo line. No mix-ups with the city delegation. No mix-ups. The day's theme. The stagehands didn't hear it that way. They answered a different director, a clipboard from the owner's rep, who answered to a different budget and a different calendar. Those notes came from the top of the capital stack, not the top of the family tree. At 3:58 p.m., A project manager clipped a radio and glanced at a laminate. At T+27, signage reveal, she said. Copy, came back, eyes on the skybridge where a shroud covered 50 feet of aluminum letters. The quartet shifted from bark to something modern that sounds expensive if you don't ask. Chairs were nudged to match camera sight lines. I stayed behind the rope, an anonymous investor dressed as someone's brother. The mayor's deputy opened, smiling for 2 cameras at once. It's a great day for San Francisco, she said, pronouncing the city like a brand. Jobs, recovery, tax base. The lender spoke briefly without saying their name into a MIC. Lenders prefer acknowledgements like covenants, documented, not performed. Amanda stepped forward for inaugural remarks. When my grandparents opened their first hotel, she began, the welcome desk was a folding table and the bellman was a cousin. Her voice didn't try. It didn't have to. She thanked architects, contractors, consultants, city staff. She gestured to her parents, 2 people a press release had finally decided to animate. She gestured to Daniel, success accepting his RSVP. And now, she said, the moment her MIC hiccuped as a stagehand signaled. The moment we reveal the name that will welcome guests for generations. Ceremonial scissors gleamed, ridiculous, photogenic. The quartet swelled. A drone rose and drew a straight line across the afternoon. On the skybridge, ties slipped. A letter showed itself in a clean, bright font you can read from a block away. T, then H. Then E. Gravity did what it always does, it ignored family plans. The Mitchell-Chin Innovation Tower. Amanda didn't turn her head. The cameras did it for her. Then the crowd. A wall of faces tilted in unison. You can hear the breath leave a plaza when a word uses a hyphen it didn't expect. Mitchell-Chin, not Chin alone. A hyphen that said partnership in letters tall enough to be read from a rideshare. A hyphen that said ownership before anyone asked who signed which page. Amanda's mother took one step toward PR and stopped when PR didn't look back. Her father's smile held long enough to qualify as professional composure. Daniel looked at me like I'd moved a planet without warning him about the tide. I didn't move. Signage reveal complete. Proceed to ribbon, the stage manager said in her headset. The deputy recovered first. Well, she said, exercising a public official's gift for improvising gratitude, that looks remarkable. She segued to a card that had never included me and now did, without ink. We love partnerships between hospitality and innovation, legacy families and a handler's still face, new investment that believes in San Francisco. There are reveals that announce wealth and reveals that announce narrative. This did both. Amanda's MIC stayed live. There seems to be some confusion, she said, smiling. She didn't add whose confusion. The ribbon went taut between gold posts. 4 pairs of scissors were handed to the people whose names had been printed for a month. A stagehand produced a 5th for the owner's rep, whose name didn't need printing because ownership disclosures aren't decorative. The owner's rep found me behind the rope. Mr. Mitchell, she said, low and professional. Front row, please. Between the deputy and the board chair. An opening in the rope appeared because it was time for one to exist. A camera paused on my face the way cameras pause on the suddenly relevant. Daniel's eyes tracked me. Amanda's smile stayed up for the photos, her jaw learned a new position. At the ribbon, the owner's rep raised a palm. The quartet hit a cue from the run-of show. The building made that small, anticipatory hum, the electric swallow right before a sign decides to glow. The Mitchell-Chin Innovation Tower lit like a promise kept in public. We cut the ribbon together. For scissors for the photo everyone planned, one more for the photo everyone would circulate. Applause rinsed the plaza. Speeches resumed. The lender liked the confidence in the capital structure. The city liked activation of sidewalks. The GC thanked subs. The owner's rep thanked our partners and our tenants, which is how you thank money out loud. Then they handed me a microphone. I'll be brief, I said, because brevity disappoints no one with a schedule. Innovation in hospitality isn't a buzzword. It's service at scale. It's what happens after the ribbon, who gets trained, who gets hired, and whether a building serves people who never check in. I kept my voice even. Numbers don't showboat when they know they're true. 10 floors of this tower will host an open-access lab for hospitality technology and civic resilience. Scholarships will pipeline community college talent into paid apprenticeships. Partners include non-profits that know eviction law, food banks that know logistics, and city teams that know what crisis looks like at 2 a.m. Only then did I look toward Amanda. The Mitchell Ear Chin floors are co-designed with the Chin Foundation. It's an honor to support a family that built hospitality the way it should be built, face to face. The compliment did its job, gracious, precise, televised. People clapped because they were supposed to. People looked at the sign because they couldn't help it. On the ground, PR tried to catch plates mid-spin. A publicist whispered at a camera operator. He shrugged. He already had the evening news. Inside, the lobby smelled like new stone and unreal flowers. Waiters circulated small bites priced too high to be called food. A jazz trio pretended to be audible in a room designed to drown them out. I stood near a column and let people find me. It's easier to be found than to chase. They found me quickly. The Chin Foundation board chair arrived first, extending a hand like an agreement he hoped had pre-signed itself. Mr. Mitchell, congratulations. On everything. Thank you. The name, he said, holding the word like a lit match, was a surprise. The term sheet executed in April, I said, friendly. Consents in May. Signage approval last week. We aligned the reveal with opening because momentum compounds when city, lenders, and partners share a room. The hyphen expresses the partnership correctly. It will photograph well. He nodded like understanding had become optional. Amanda's father approached next, smile calibrated for an audience of one. Jordan, he said, warm enough to reheat a cold idea. You certainly know how to make a statement. I prefer filings to statements, I said. But filings don't light up. Why weren't we informed earlier? And there it was, we. The most elastic pronoun in a public room. Our teams have been in contact for months, I said. Your counsel reviewed the assignment. Your lender approved the transfer. The city approved the signage. The foundation co-runs programming. We didn't move in secret. We moved correctly. His mouth opened, then closed around a wider smile. Well, we're all on the same side. Exactly, I said, and left the sentence where it could be photographed. Daniel came last, a half step behind his own face. He looked like a man who studied for one exam and found the test pulled from another book. You bought it, he said, just naming. I bought the company that owns it, I said. More boring, therefore safer. How long, April? You didn't tell me. The last time I told you something like this, you said I fix printers in a basement. He winced. I didn't say it like that. You did, I said. It's fine. People say true things accidentally. I fix systems. Some of those systems print money. Across the lobby, a journalist asked Amanda a soft question about partnerships and place. Her mother tried to run interference and discovered the camera didn't need it. The journalist wrote hyphen like she was writing a hypothesis. Lex touched my sleeve. City Workforce Chair wants 5 minutes, she said. Dean Richardson is here with development. Scholarship overlay. City first. We took a high top in the expensive noise. We're aligning grant windows, the chair said. 50 apprentices in Q1. The city funds wraparound, transportation, childcare. We need employer commitments. You'll have them, I said. Tenant agreements mandate participation. Not a hope, a covenant. Dean Richardson waited like a person who understands long games. She hugged me like a headline she'd already fact-checked. You continue to place precise choices in very public rooms, she said. I don't place the room, I said. I place the paper. The room finds it. We talked lines on spreadsheets and lines in lives. She'd heard the family story already, the sandcastles and the tides. She didn't say it. She didn't need to. The evening loosened the way events do when everyone has initialed the feelings form. Guests rode elevators for tours. The innovation floors played like a set, screens looping demo reels, Staff in clean polos saying pipeline without sounding predatory. Amanda found me near the elevators. The crowd gave us space, the generous circle people make around a private conversation they intend to overhear. Was this necessary? She asked softly. Necessary is a big word, I said. Correct is smaller and truer. You could have told me the name would change. It didn't change, I said. It matured. Mitchell-Eyre Chin describes the facts. You and I care about substance. This is that. You made me look unprepared, she said, the smile still working for cameras at the fringe. No, I said. Your team wrote a plan that assumed facts aren't facts until said on a stage. Facts don't wait for stages. She steadied herself on a breath that sounded like a glass surviving a small earthquake. My mother will never forgive you, she said, which is the kind of sentence that pretends to predict and actually requests. She will, I said. When programming starts, when the city sends cameras for the right reasons, when interns from neighborhoods she doesn't name get job offers in rooms she does. Amanda studied me like a structural beam measuring load against the way it pretended to be decorative. The hyphen, she said finally, a small smile touching the edge of her mouth. You made sure of it. I did, I said. Hyphens keep names honest. Congratulations, she said. On getting exactly what you wanted. What I wanted, I said, is a building to carry a name that tells the truth about who it serves. The story refined itself in waves. First wave, optics, name surprise stuns guests. Hyphen sparks debate. Second wave, substance, 10 flaws for civic readiness. Scholarship pipeline launched. Third wave, pattern, quiet tech investors' urban footprint. From last row to tower top. My parents called, I didn't answer. My mother left a voicemail that started as a question and turned into a parade of reputational anxieties. We had people calling, asking if we knew. She didn't finish, because finishing would confess whether she'd wanted to know. Uncle Philip sent an email titled Narrative Management Post-Opening, and accidentally CC'd me. He wanted to align messaging. He wanted we again. I deleted it and CC'd no one. Daniel showed up Wednesday, vanilla latte like a treaty. He sat in a chair designed to make people feel capable. I'm sorry, he said. For acting like the front row means more than the building. It's fine, I said. We're allowed to learn late. You make it look like you never have to practice. I practice where no one watches, I said. Then I let other people own the photos. He laughed without enjoying it. Amanda's upset. She'll get over it. Or she won't and I'll get over that. Do you plan these lines? I plan the facts, I said. The lines write themselves in rooms that respect them. The first apprentice cohort moved in the next month. Elevator doors opened and people stepped onto floors they'd only visited for housekeeping. They learned code and guest recovery scripting in the same week. We were training for a city, not a property. A fire drill and a payroll system can both save a life if you understand timing. The Chin Foundation's program director turned out to be exactly right, too practical to be ornamental, too principled to be easy. We argued about vendors, about whether small businesses could scale for surges, about schedules that respected prayer times and double bookings. We didn't argue about the hyphen. It had earned a quiet life. The building made its noises, air handlers exhaling, elevators humming, kitchens thinking. 10 floors turned lights on when they were needed and off when nothing important was happening. The sign outside stopped being new to the people who walked past it daily. It stayed new to the ones who came because they'd read about workforce pipelines and a city learning its own name again. Months later, a second ceremony. No ribbon this time. A dedication, smaller stage, more meaning. We cut a low, sensible strip in front of a doorway that said Mitchell-Eyre Chin Apprentice Lab in letters that didn't need to be seen from a block away. 2 students who had never cut anything ceremonial cut it for us, because it isn't a ceremony if the right hands don't hold the scissors. I spoke briefly. Amanda spoke briefly. She didn't read. She looked like someone who decided reality pays better than fantasy. Hospitality is the art of anticipating a need, she said, like she understood the need wasn't always hers. Afterward she found me where the acoustics were kind. I was wrong, she said. Not about everything. But about what the building is for. I'm wrong constantly, I said. I try to be wrong privately and right publicly. The hyphen stays, she said. It was never leaving, I said, and the joke was safe now. The city sent fewer cameras the second time. The ones that came asked better questions. Graduation rates. Job placement. How many people who had never seen a ribbon cutting now wore a badge that opened a door? What happens at 2 a.m. when a water main bursts and a team trained upstairs keeps guests calm because they practiced with firefighters who know every stairwell? A building named itself onto the Skyline and then earned that name the slow way, through shifts, through forms signed by people who write carefully because they're not used to being asked. My mother visited one afternoon when I wasn't there. Lex said she walked the lobby like a person asking permission late. She read a plaque listing donors to the innovation floors. She took a photo of my name and sent it to the family chat without commentary. The chat reacted. She didn't. She rode to the 9th floor and paused at a classroom where someone was teaching the art of apology to apprentices who had already learned both sides of it at home. She texted me, "The classrooms are beautiful." Then, I didn't understand what this was. "I'm sorry." I typed 3 replies and deleted them. Then sent the only sentence I could stand to reread. "It's for the city. I didn't add it's for you. People have to find certain doors themselves." At night, the sign throws a clean light across the sidewalk. The hyphen holds 2 names together with the quiet strength of grammar that refuses to argue. People walk under it on their way to rooms they will remember or won't. Some ride the elevators to jobs that didn't exist for them last year. Some ride up because they always belonged here. Buildings aren't monuments. They're machines that make meaning when you turn them on. This one does what it says. It innovates. It welcomes. It bears both names because both names bear it. The night wind on Market is colder than it looks. The glass turns gold, then dark, then reflective enough to make a person see themselves even if they're trying not to. I looked up at the letters and thought about the first time someone asked me to sit where I could be politely unseen. They won't make that mistake again. Not because of a hyphen. Because of what happens on the floors behind it, hour after hour, long after the ribbon hits the trash. Success isn't a front row or a stage or even a sign that glows. It's a building that does its job when nobody is watching and carries your name without apologizing for why.